Hello and welcome back to another Star Wars video. During the Republic era, the 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐫𝐬 Alpha team was sent to the planet Dagobah to chart and map the Galactic Republic's extending borders and to learn more about its flora and fauna. 𝐻 and her Alpha team were overwhelmed after 3 months by diseases, dangerous wildlife, and fast-growing plants. There was no trace of the team. Jedi Grand Master Yoda traveled to the planet Dagobah near the end of the Clone Wars after hearing the voice of deceased Jedi Master 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐫𝐬. He ventured to the swamp to commune with 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐫𝐬, who manifested as a swarm of fireflies. He taught Yoda how to communicate with the living after death by connecting the living force and the cosmic force. Then Yoda went into a cave and saw a vision of the Jedi fighting the clones, followed by the mysterious Sith Lord. Yoda, a Jedi Master who, despite his small stature, was one of the galaxy's greatest Force wielders, was first introduced to fans in Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. Luke Skywalker first met Yoda on Dagobah, a swamp planet devoid of civilization and teeming with muddy waters, vines, and reptile-like creatures. Fans learned that he was in exile on Dagobah, hiding from the Empire after Palpatine carried out an order to kill all the Jedi across the galaxy. However, Yoda didn't choose this planet for his exile by chance. In Star Wars: The Clone Wars, it was revealed that Yoda visited Dagobah shortly before the Jedi's demise, and it was because of this visit he sought refuge on this planet when the Jedi were hunted. The Clone Wars 6th season concluded with a story arc centered solely on Yoda and the larger workings of the Force. The Jedi Master first heard the voice of Qui-Gon Jinn, who Darth Maul killed in The Phantom Menace. Because Qui-Gon was the first Jedi to experience consciousness after death, the rest of the Order couldn't be sure it wasn't a Sith trick. On the other hand, Yoda remained firm in his convictions and followed Qui-Gon's instructions. Yoda's first trip to Dagobah was brief, but it was enough for him to recognize the planet's strong ties to the Force. It stands to reason that when he needed a haven, he would go there not only to continue his training and to learn more about the Force, but to also guide and train the galaxy's savior decades later. Yoda's first trip to Dagobah also taught him to live beyond his physical body, a powerful skill that allowed him to return as a Force ghost in The Return of the Jedi and The Last Jedi. Now, talking about the fact of who found Yoda, there is a bit of a story. Crimson Reign is still one of the most surprising Star Wars comics we've seen in a long time. Longtime Star Wars writer Charles Soule's latest comic miniseries, set immediately after the events of the War of the Bounty Hunters crossover event, continues the story of Crimson Dawn and their new leader, Lady Qi'ra. Now, we've seen Qi'ra and her crime syndicate lay the groundwork for their assassination attempt on Palpatine in the first few issues of Crimson Reign. Qi'ra is creating distractions and gathering the forces she needs to strike at the heart of the Empire. From starting a war among the major crime families to assassinating the Emperor's royal guards. The 3rd issue of Crimson Reign continues this theme by revealing how Qi'ra came to recruit Madeline Sun, a lonely archivist who specialized in studying Force-related artifacts before the Empire made owning such artifacts illegal. After saving Sun from a couple of stormtroopers, Qi'ra reveals to her that Emperor Palpatine is none other than Darth Sidious, the Sith Lord, and that his quest to destroy the Jedi is what took Sun's previous life. Sun expresses her desire for vengeance and is taken aboard Qi'ra's ship, the Vermilion, which houses numerous dark side relics. Sun is then offered all the relics she desires in exchange for her assistance in Crimson Dawn's plans to destroy Sidious and his empire. When Sun asks what Qi'ra wants her to do, Qi'ra says she wants Sun to find a surviving Jedi who can assist them in their plan, specifically finding Jedi Master Yoda. Qi'ra goes on to say that the Empire never announced Yoda's death, implying that he is still alive. Sun agrees to locate the Jedi and bring him to Qi'ra. Sun concludes after extensive research that Yoda must have received assistance from Bail Organa aboard his ship, the Tantive III. She then visits an Imperial prison where she meets Jeramuk Colton, a former Organa family pilot. Sun discovers that Yoda was dropped off in the Sluis sector after interrogating Colton with a dark side device known as a thought dowser. She then travels to the Sluis sector and follows her Force sense to the planet Dagobah. Another one was Luke Skywalker. He had absolutely no idea, but as it turned out, it didn't matter. When he got close to the planet, he suddenly lost control of his ship and crashed into the middle of a swamp. That is, well, unfortunate to say the least. It's almost as if somebody down there had a vested interest in him, don't you think, and wanted him to end up within walking distance of a certain green Jedi who could telepathically shut down and remotely steer an X-Wing? Wink wink. Now, if you watch the scene again, you'll notice that as soon as Luke got close to the planet, he lost control of his craft, along with all of his instruments, and crashed into a swamp. Now, do you believe that all the avionics and the X-Wing just happened to fail simultaneously due to natural causes? Ha! No. Yoda saw him coming and used the Force to ensure that he ended up where he needed to be. He was probably dumped in the swamp as well. He probably wanted to see how Luke would react under pressure. Throughout Crimson Reign number 3, we see how the Emperor destroys Madeline Sun's life and how Qi'ra attempts to exploit this. Despite Sun's determination to destroy Sidious, Yoda gives her another chance, guiding her away from this destructive path and saving both Sun and himself in the process. Yoda's role in the story is both small and large. Much like the character, while he is mostly in the background and only appears in one panel, he significantly impacts Sun and Crimson Dawn as a whole. With no Jedi on their side, Qi'ra's plan for vengeance appears doomed, and will almost likely leave her with nothing, much like the dark side. However, for those who choose to heal over vengeance, such as Yoda and Sun, the Force is a powerful ally. Now the third one was Galen Marek, aka Starkiller. When Starkiller was on his way to Dagobah after saving 𝐉𝐻, he meets Yoda, who tells him to look within himself to find what he seeks, and then Starkiller enters the Cave of Evil, where he sees a lot of living dead Starkiller clones trying to take him with them, and he faces some challenges before he finally sees Juno eclipsed and where she is. Yoda assists Starkiller in locating Juno and determining his identity. It is unknown whether 𝐉𝐻 is aware of Yoda's presence on Dagobah, but it is assumed that he is. Now, this evil incarnation of Starkiller first appears canonically in Star Wars: The Force Unleashed Jedi Temple DLC, in which Galen Marek travels to the ruins of the Jedi Temple in Coruscant at the command of Jedi Master 𝐉𝐻. Galen is confronted by a mysterious Sith warrior clad in sinister armor. As the final stage of his trial, Galen manages to dislodge his helmet after a heated duel with the Sith, revealing his own face, and Galen shrinks back, shocked to see his own disfigured face. Galen is told that he will not be able to escape his fate. Galen leaves the Jedi Temple, perplexed by the message. Then it was Arhu Hextrophone who discovered information indicating a possible location of Jedi Master Yoda in classified data files at the University of Carmath. While conducting extensive and lengthy research for the official history of the rebellion, the historian went to Dagobah and the Dagobah system and searched the planet's swamps for any traces of the Jedi. He eventually tracked down Yoda, but the impish Jedi pretended to be simple-minded and a senile hermit for several days before finally admitting the truth. Yoda expressed surprise that Hextrophone had discovered him, claiming that all records that could lead to him had been destroyed. Yoda planned to wipe Hextrophone's brain of all the knowledge of his presence, fearing that the knowledge of his existence and location would endanger the galaxy. But when the historian protested in terror at losing his memories, Yoda thankfully reconsidered, observing that causing hurt and pain in others was not the Jedi way. The Jedi Master spent several days talking with the historian, relieved to be able to speak freely after being isolated for so long. When Hextrophone left Dagobah, he went to Carmath and erased the records that had led him to the Jedi Master. If you have followed the comics, you might have found an idea that a probe droid also found the Grand Master. The comics show another take on the episode Empire Strikes Back. A Star Destroyer, gallivanting in space, reaches the swamp planet of Dagobah. Upon landing, the probes began to look for the Grand Master and actually finds him, but then the Grand Master tricks it and destroys it using his lightsaber. Now that's all for today. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, feel free to give this video a thumbs up, and we will see you guys in the next video. And may the Force be with you.